Hi, this is Sive Morten with the daily update on EuroFX. I post my exclusive market overviews with the key political and economical events, charts and important levels on the ForexPeaceArmy.com forums weekly. This short video is a response to rapidly changing situation on the currency markets and should help you to stay on top of the game and be profitable. I suggest you to visit ForexPeaceArmy.com forum and read my analysis for the week before watching this daily video.
Welcome back everybody, let's take a look again on euro currency. So today the situation stands out that we do not have a lot of things to talk about on the technical side, because the most interesting things happening on a fundamental background, and I would say even on a political background in the United States. So all this debt saga with the sale and lots of speeches in the media of the Janet Yellen and the Jerome Powell, Fed representatives. So it's really bringing a big mess in the minds of the investors. They actually do not know in what side to run, in what way actually. So when we in today's report, the weekly report, tried to find out what's really going on, what to expect, and in detail we show actually based on the charts and the events that actually already have happened in 2021, when it was approximately the same situation. We explain why it will be a real big demand for United States dollar if debt sale will be increased. So as in 2021, it was huge borrowing from the United States Treasury for around $1.5 trillion. Additionally, they have added approximately 6,500 billions on a balance in the way of the cash. Actually, you see this balance in our favorite chart of the Fed assets, United States Treasury assets on the Fed accounts, and it was really big hurt for stock market because it was absolutely incredible drive the liquidity out of the market. This time situation even worse because Fed needs more cash than it was in 2021. So since the rising of the debt sale seems a bit more probable, at least by the opinions of the investors, than the United States debt default, we're mostly following this scenario and showing why we expect that it might be strong demand for United States dollar, and actually suggest that particularly this moment could become the background for strong rally of the dollar within the nearest weeks or even months. And from that standpoint, the previously discussed technical targets that we have seen on the monthly chart in the beginning of this year, if you remember, we recall what we talked about, the 90 even target, 92 below the parity on the euro. And it was seemed that, well, incredible to reach them. It was unclear what really driving factors could become and could lead the euro to these targets. But at this point, something appears, and the debt sale issues might be the driving factor that could lead euro below the parity. We can't set it definitely, because it probably not reasonable right now, but we not exclude that this could happen. And based on the actually targets that we have on the monthly chart, we do not see that this is impossible. But of course, the monthly chart is too significant to talk about and trade it. And we will go step by step. And first, actually, we will try to play out the scenario that we could get on the daily chart. So if you remember, on Friday, we talked about this. Actually, guys, on the technical side, not many things to talk. On this downward action, as you can see, definitely some acceleration compared to these actions, more straightforward action. Market starting moving in a pattern that I'm calling as a creeping with the oversold. This is typical behavior for the euro currency when it stands in strong fundamental trend. Usually it has the following features. Market hits the oversold, showing very small pullback, and drop to the next oversold level, then again showing very small pullback, and so on. This is typical behavior for the euro currency. If you will take a look at the previously happened downside trends that was driven by the fundamentals, you will see this behavior. And I suppose that it might be indicator also that the fundamental factors that stand behind of this action, on the back of this action, is actually really strong. So from that standpoint, personally, guys, I do not see any other attempt to trade euro currency on the daily chart, except only single scenario of the kind of the bread and butter trade. So I prefer to wait when the market will hit support area around 1735. It's fib support measured from these lows to this top, 618 support, and oversold level. This combination creates so-called bullish stretch combination by the Napoli terms. This is bullish directional pattern that brings at least some hope that we will get some pullback here. Once the pullback will happen, that might be the bread and butter sell. It's just because take a look here is thrusting action. It has enough sufficient number of bars to the downside 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, or 8 bars already. So it'll be downside to the 107.35 9 bar. So as the pullback gives us the chance of taking the short position. That's the scenario that we could keep an eye on. So, but first we have to wait when the market will reach the support. Because without the support, if you take a look at the intraday charts, you will see nothing really interesting. So market just creeping and creeping to the downside, gradually, stubbornly, with this channel with no actually patterns. The patterns that we've got previously, some butterflies here, if you remember, we were traded. Currently, it's nothing to do. And here I think that we should wait for this level, see what will happen there, wait for some bullish pattern, for instance, if hand shorts will appear here or something of that sort. That's my background for the pullback. Scalp traders could try and take the scalp short long positions for this minor pullback, but for us, since we trade mostly on the daily chart, we need to wait just for this pullback to consider taking the new short position. That's the major idea for next week, and at least for the beginning of the week, and see what will happen. The scalp traders, if you trade on the lower time frames, on the hourly and below, probably you could try to consider taking the short position with this channel. Just because market right now stands right at the top of the border, so maybe some anticipation for the downward action right to the support area, some leg down here could happen. So you could consider probably taking the short position if you trade such kind of the sit-ups on the moving inside of the channel or something of that sort. But this is mostly the directional trading, this trend trading, except compares to actually some patterns trading, because here we don't have any patterns. So that's actually what we could say only on a technical picture, not really too much. Euro currency is mostly interesting on the high time frames. If you take a look at the monthly chart, it's analysis that we have provided in the weekly report, and of course extremely interesting on the fundamental background. So lots of interesting event stuff right now stands behind of the forex market. So we hope that our report will be a pleasure to read and you find it interesting.